I got all. Well, good to see you all again. I have a very challenging task. I'm the second from the last, so not as bad as Chintan here, but pretty challenging. And because I'm going to talk about the problems with SONiC, right? So everybody's here cheering, "Ooh, SONiC, SONiC!" But it's just here. Try to go to the outside, you see some challenges. But before that, SONiC, I think you've seen this graph before. This is the Gartner hype cycle, and it's pretty up there. You can see also AI networking, and it's definitely going to grow. SONiC, I'm sold on SONiC. The only stickers I have on my laptop ever put in my professional career is a SONiC. Why? Because I really believe in it. So you're talking about getting to $8 billion in 2027. Might be more, might be less. Still a big number. All major ODMs, OEMs moving to SONiC. A little joke on Cisco. I said, like, if Cisco moving to SONiC, hell is freezing. So it's like, definitely. I was dead wrong. When somebody is here will tell you, when you joined, when Cisco joined, I said, oh, another game where they're going to come like they did the ODL, and they're going to bog it with this endless discussion, so it'll go nowhere. I was wrong, so I loved your presentation, just, this energy that Cisco brought in. One of the most active members today at the TSC, the Technical Steering Committee of SONiC, is Cisco, so chapeau. So if Cisco is here, everybody should be here. And I've been traveling a lot. I do a lot of travel to the dismay of my wife. And, I think when we started the SONiC journey a few years back, it was kind of like, the risk was like, am I moving to SONiC? Am I taking a risky thing, et cetera? I think when I meet with customers today, the risk is like when people are coming, and it's like the risk is not moving to SONiC right now, early on. So it's really the dynamic change, where it's like everybody wants to hear, everybody wants to kind of, dip their toes and get early in, why? Because FOMO, right? I mean, there's some millennials here, and you guys will understand what I'm talking about. You guys know what FOMO is, right? So, we are in a FOMO economy, right? That, you can, NVIDIA thanks all of you guys again for everybody, buying, because just in case, I don't want to miss it. So, SONiC also has its FOMO right now, and, we're very pleased with that. But some challenges. So, what are the challenges? It's still fragmented, right? It's a community-driven with early focus on data center. Like Liwa, I talked to him many times. SONiC is heavy. It requires expensive equipment. It has its challenges. I know Marvell is doing a great job of trying to, make it more affordable, make it in the enterprise. So, but there's a challenge, right? Because everybody's pulling, right? People at the TSC literally like, oh, I want here, why these guys? So there's still kind of like a situation where people trying to, push stuff. That's why working groups, right? We talk about all the features going to be introducing into the new releases. And for example, enterprise PoE was not in top priority, right? Because it has nothing to do with data center. But you can start seeing that with Microsoft, understanding that they want, to grow this adoption of SONiC, needs to kind of like take also features, not just Alibaba. So this is the long list of roadmap. It's still fragmented, like I said. There's a lot of distributions. I hear almost have a new distribution every other day, and it's challenging because everybody has its own little flavor. Everybody talks about community SONiC. I am not aware today of a single deployment of community SONiC. Please correct me if you know of one. Everybody whomever talks about pure SONiC, bullshitter. They still have their own container, right? So anybody aware of a community SONiC deployment? I joke that I would say, please don't kill me. I say, I won't run my home Wi-Fi on a community SONiC, So it's like a lot of challenges. Who's supporting it? What this? Because it's not just getting the NOS. I'm like, if there's a problem, who do I call? Right? So it's like support is the key, and you want to make sure you have the 1-800 customer vendor. Also, relatively early, so there's a lot of cowboys out there and coming with statements, and so you create issues, right? You basically burn some customers, and they talk to other customers, and so creating high expectations, and those are some, at best case, far from reality, at worst case, take down the networks. So this is another challenges. Coexistence versus migration. So very few customers that I know like forklift. Like you come to them and say, everything you have, everything that your CFO did not depreciate it completely, you have to throw it away. Now, how many people here understand accounting? That's a problem. You sell to a CFO because he is the guy who is selling. Do you guys understand, that they have to accelerate depreciation if they throw it? So if you spread it over 5 years and they use it for 3, they have to accelerate 2 years, and it goes to their P&Ls. P&L, EPS, earnings per share. Earnings per share means I, as executive, going to miss my bonus thanks to your new technology. So no, thank you. So you have to build ways for them to coexist the old and the new, right? You cannot just come tell them, hey, just replace everything. Like for many years, some company here did that for their customers. No, please, I didn't mention any names, okay? Company X. There's another challenge. DevOps. DevOps guys hate NetOps guys. They see them as slow, some cases ignorant. They don't know what they're talking. They're dinosaurs, and I want quick, I know that. So you constantly have like, hey, I do all my DevOps thing, and I have to throw it to the NetOps guys, and they have to make it work. And if it doesn't work, it's the network's problem. I never had anybody says, oh, yeah, it's, I did something wrong. I didn't put the computer. No, the network was at fault. So you have this challenge. SONiC is not fully matured yet, at least in some cases, where they cater to the DevOps guys. We talked a lot about Gen AI and AI. I think I was joking with some guys. There were more talks about AI than actual deployments of AI, right? Today. I'm not talking about even the last month. I mean, there's so many talks about AI, but if you really see how many AI deployments, there are very few. So, Led Zeppelin, you guys are familiar, there's some old guys here know Led Zeppelin. So they like Robert Plant says, like, lots of people talk, few of them know, right? That like he has that song, and I always about to put a post on LinkedIn and say, every time my comment is like, lots of people talk, few of them know. So there's a lot of this situation where you come to customers and like, oh, not again. First, I don't care because it's so far down the road. And another thing is like everybody talking, everybody's like the same slides, and then you get that AI fatigue. Now, we bundled SONiC, we bundled with the AI fatigue. So we have to be worried about that, because that's why I talk to customers, I don't say AI at all until we show our chat, because you don't want to get that fatigue. And observability. I love people talk about this, and they come in the slide there, and then they show the customers, like, here's the printout of all my CLI. It's like, seriously? Like, all these guys don't have, I come with general ledger, and I deploy it over here, like, it will look Chinese to you. So it's like, people used today to the iPhone generation. Most of you people here actually are the iPhone generation, right? You are, that GUI of Apple compared to the Nokia or all that is a completely different. So, iPhone is 2007, right? So, let's say you were 5, 6 years old, you were, got to this technology that simplified things. Having a tabular thing with all that CLI, for your customer is a challenge. So we looked at all these challenges and like, how do we solve them? All right. So first, time solves most of the problem. Things progress, people get used to other things, and it will be easier to promote SONiC. You come 2 years ago, I started talking to people, SONiC, they're like, is this the drive-through where you sell hamburgers in the United States, right, Saurabh? You know, what is SONiC? You know, like, oh, software open networking in the cloud. You know, I would pick a different name, by the way. And so that's, people get used to it. Now I go and talk to people, everybody knows SONiC. Everybody knows SONiC. Address humans. Number one challenge in every organization is the resistance for change, right? So it's like, how do you address different set of incentives for people, right? We talked about you need to talk to the networking people, because usually they are the first line of defense of like new technologies. Then you have to talk to the new generation within our companies, the DevOps guys. And last but not least, to the business guys. Business, the front end, what it does for them, and business, the guy who pays the bills, like the CFO. So, the networking is like, how can you use SONiC for your how will it make your life easier? SONiC is the heart. I like what Guru said, SONiC is the heart. Around it, you can build a lot of things, right? And I like to say that we as orchestration is the nerve system, which, they all have to go hand in hand. Solutions need to be comprehensive. I love it when people come and say, oh, I'll do Ansible. I say, oh, yeah? How are you going to then do your observability? Oh, I do Grafana, I do this, I do that. I'm like, so you basically need 20 people just instead of getting one product. So why recreate the wheel all the time? So it's like, all this scripting thing, it was great when there was no alternative. But the alternative is like, what else? Like, yeah, I really sometimes don't understand people. Offer SONiC as a migration. Offer SONiC as a way they're like, okay, we can do a pod, do a BGP to the rest, and then grow with it. You can have a multi-vendor solution. Dorado is here. There's other vendors are here that are offering a multi-pod NOS integration. So offer that. Rip and replace, very challenging, especially in an economic environment like today. It's going to make it more difficult. People are less open to spend the money. I like to, say is like, options are great. For me, I'm driven by the search for options, because options is freedom. I have the choice. I have the false sense or true sense of freedom. So with the traditional vendors, that's why I say, customers have this mentality is like, so I'll give an example of a very large intelligence agency, right? They don't have money problems. Well, they do, but they don't. They have people problem. It's hard to get. But what they don't want is to be captured at this. So they say, hey, I have 5 NOSes. Help me migrate to one NOS, which is SONiC. So they say, we were screwed in the past. Now we want to look beyond that and have something that will prevent me from getting screwed again. Now, yes, you can say there's multiple distribution, et cetera, but at the end, there's a SI. I can put different SONiC if the hardware is supported on that with the SI, and then I can go and have my choices. I'd like to tell my customers, and I think everybody should do that SONiC gives you the option to go if you are not happy. We are here to win your business every day as companies, every day, not every 5 years when you come to do refresh. So every day we work very hard to keep you pleased. Life cycle. there's a cost associated with the network from the day you deploy that equipment until the day it's getting replaced. So I think SONiC offers great value for the complete lifecycle cost, not just, hey, if you get the hardware from here and you get the software from here, you'll be able to save that much money. No. What does it take for you to get all the updates? What it take you to service that over the life cycle of the product? Not everything that is the cheapest is going to be good for you. Actually, my experience shows me that usually I pay the most for the cheap stuff that you get. So it's like I think we are doing, some of us in the community, making a mistake by leading with cost. Like, tell the customer, oh, you're going to save X, Y, Z. I think we are, as a community, providing this service, but showing that SONiC will help you reduce cost. No, SONiC, like I mentioned earlier, help you to increase your business resiliency because it gives you options, gives you a variety of ecosystem of partners, helps you accelerate your features into that, it gives you that, and better business. So, leading by cost is a big mistake in my book. Let me tell you how we do it. I talked about the SONiC freedom. So so if you have the silicon, the SI, the SONiC as the heart, we are coming on top of that to kind of like abstract all the layers below. And why is that? Because everybody has a different flavor. Everybody has their own past traumas, why they don't want this. So you need some kind of like another layer of abstraction. And we gear toward the iPhone generation who doesn't want to like your CLI. Now, sorry if I insult somebody here with their CLI, but I was in OCP, I think almost 2 years ago, and somebody was so excited about Suzy Q. So excited, he was showing all these tables, and I came to him and said, I commend you for your excitement, but I have no idea why you were so excited about Suzy Q. You guys familiar with that product? Suzy Q? You see, you proved my point. It's such a complicated thing, but for Uber developers to monitor Fabric. So nobody likes Suzy Q, except for this gentleman. So let me show you what we do, how we do it. We've been doing that for more than a decade. We are deployed at 500 networks worldwide, but we take GUI first approach, no code. We are the iPhone generation. So setting up a VRF, it will be one click. Underneath, it will be VLANs that you go that, and deploying it is something like that. You're going to come, you see like a service is a VLAN. I want to deploy it on Leaf 4. I just click here, add that. And basically, you can either go also to the switch and do a bulk edit. You say, hey, put this provisioning from these ports, from port 20 to 30, and then add this VLAN, click, and it basically does all the things. I mentioned there's zero provisioning of spines because the spines, there are no VLANs that for the service. Network observability or steroids. We as humans can absorb a lot of information with a fraction of a second, but just by looking. So if you understand green good, red bad, yellow, I have no idea what's going on. This is something that show a lot of telemetry. SONiC, we use GNMI. We love GNMI. Real-time telemetry adds a lot of features. So we really love that feature in SONiC. You could see this is our orchestration. It's very simple to navigate, but you don't need to. You can search, on the top. It will show you. We do multiple distributions. So I have a Fabric where it has, you can see Dell, Celestica, their SONiC, EdgeCore, their SONiC, Dell, their SONiC, and we do also distribution. So all of them are managed the same way. By the way, We have in the campus, we do, I mentioned Cisco, Juniper, Arista, Netgear, and using the Broadcom FastPath, and all of them manage the same way. So yeah, we love SONiC. We understand, we have to be open about understanding what the challenges are amongst ourselves and when we go to the customer, because there's no point of hiding, what's wrong with SONiC. You have to come and, people like, oh, SONiC is fragmented and, the distributions are not the same. I'm like, so? But they are definitely closer than what you had before. So, yeah. So, yeah, Q&A.
Thanks a lot, Amir. At least somebody is addressing the issues also.
I didn't want to say another AI, I was like.
Any questions from the audience? Yeah.
So, based on your experience on integrating, what is the set of best practices that you would speak to the other people who are developing on SONiC now?
I think come to us early because we know a lot of the faults of the other distributions. So we're not going to tell you, oh, these guys, this is their problem with the container, but we know implementations that some SONiC distribution we treat as completely different NOSes. We're like, so I mentioned that we have different containers for different distributions. Some of them are so far apart that we are like, there's no connection, So come work with us. We'll give you some pointers on how to do some implementations, on the SONiC.
Could you please give your brief experience on the network equipment interfaces? So some we are really restricted to the CLI scrapping. Some, for instance, even in SONiC, an interface like a netcon for those things are not available. The REST API is once again restricted. So what is your take on this front?
On the fact that SONiC is limited in terms of protocol, or
in SONiC, when we try to provide interfaces for the SONiC that we have, what we found is that there is a REST API interface. There is a CLI which is which we should say that it sucks, but
the Dell and Broadcom CLI is pretty good. So it depends which distribution. The community SONiC.
Community SONiC.
Yeah, that's why I said how many community SONiC deployments you know. I know of none. So the community SONiC is really good area. I mean, I don't think Microsoft is deploying community SONiC. So nobody is deploying. So community SONiC is like a reference. How many people deploying community Linux? I know of none. So you want to have a vendor who knows what they're doing, right? We are not. I wouldn't say that we are the SONiC expert, but if you want to have a SONiC with a CLI, you should probably work with a vendor who knows how to do it, because what will happen if, for Avenir, if you use a crappy SONiC and you take down a carrier network? I know what will happen to Avenir. It's going to be chapter 7, So you have to value what is the risk of cheaping out. So and I think CrowdStrike was eye-opening for me. And I talk to people like, Delta, all these airlines said they're going to sue Microsoft for tens of billions of dollars. Microsoft. Now, what's Microsoft's fault, right? But they offered access to these guys. So they're like, the airlines say, I don't care, you went down. You go, solve your problem. So you have, my advice to people is like, get a vendor who can give you a solution, but also give you a backing for your deployment. Cheap is not always the best way to go.
Cyril, we had our tough times in bringing up the basic configuration stuff. So, but once again, the problem is that CLI is not the right interface for when you are at least interfacing with a SONiC box. So, what is your take on?
Oh, you saw that. We're like zero code, so we do everything graphical. And yes, we're not free. We're not open source. I rather tell people that's what you paid. Say, here's the free, and then I'll get to you later on, that what you see is what you get, right? So, and I agree with you. All the interface, all that might work with certain level of customers, a certain level of experience, but I can tell you that the people we work with, and I like to say I target Fortune 51 and below. I'm not interested in top 50, even though we do have few. But because these are the organizations that really need help with the knowledge that is built in the technology. Our technology encompasses, many, many, many years of experience. It's not, it's not a Python script. It's like, I don't know, I heard some people talking about, Python good, bad, et cetera. I'm not saying it's good or bad, but, it's limited. There's a lot of things that are built into the knowledge, into that orchestration. There's so many knobs on doing orchestration because, especially if you do a multi-vendor, it's not easy thing. You ask me, somebody asked me like in an interview, hey, what would you recommend to Amir before you start the company? Say, take the money, invest in real estate, and don't start that shit. So literally, I would not have done it if I knew that will be the journey. With that positive note, any questions?
Cool. Even real estate is not working. So
Yeah? In Dallas, it does. So, in Texas, it works pretty well.
in Hyderabad, it's working. Bangalore, people can say about themselves. Thanks a lot, Amir.
Thank you.
Great presentation.